We back at it again, authentic alphas in the building, and we got this beautiful chocolate sister. What's your name?
Sophanie.
Sophanie.
Yes.
Is that a stripper name?
What? I'm a singer. I don't strip.
I'm joking. All right. So where are you from, and also what's your age?
Well, I was born here, left here when I was 5. So I was in Canada, and I came back September. So, you know, I'm from here, I guess, and I am 21.
You're only 21?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, all right. So what other countries have you been to?
I've been here, Canada, and Haiti.
I like it already. And you were telling me that you are Haitian.
Yes.
And you speak a little bit of Creole.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Bonjour. Sac passe. Qui j'en tout le monde yé. I don't know. I mean.
Okay. Tell me how a lady of only 21 can be so classy and sophisticated, but tell me in Creole.
Okay, my Creole, I'm getting it back since I moved back here.
Mm-hmm.
Mais parce que m'en toujours prier bon Dieu, non nuit. I'm always prayerful. I can't really say much, but yeah, I'm just prayerful. I love God.
Okay.
And He gives me value every day.
So being that you know, obviously have, you know, Haitian origin and you speak Creole, what made you go to Toronto and not Montreal?
Well, I was in Quebec, but I was living in Gatineau, so that was my parents' decision. That was my mom's decision. Montreal is a little further than Ottawa, and Ottawa is where my dad stays. Gatineau's really close to Ottawa. It's like 15 minutes away. So I wanted to stay close to my dad.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, so tell me a little bit about your experiences with dating. How do you feel about the current dating market?
My experience with dating, I wasn't really into dating growing up because I was really sheltered. But when I did date, I honestly think it was me just wanting a relationship and not really waiting on God. I think that everybody has their soulmate. And when I wasn't actually dating and I just was patiently waiting, that's when somebody came. And to this day, we're still together. And his name is tattooed on my hip. But regardless, I call him my husband.
You ain't show anybody yet. You like, like right. You didn't show anybody yet. Okay. All right. So wait, hold on. Did I miss it? How long were you together?
We were together. I mean, we've been together for the last 2 years. Yeah.
You got a winner. That motherfucker got a winner, lucky bastard. All right. How do you feel about colorism? Is this something that has affected you?
Colorism, I mean, it's definitely affected me. It's made me change my perspective on how I look at black people. I used to think like black people are always together. They love each color. But I noticed, you know, I had my sister's darker, and I had a dark-skinned friend, and they used to kind of favor me out of all of them. And that made me just think, you know, sometimes people, you know, it makes me feel a little different about how black men, not necessarily women, look at us versus different colors and how they treat us just because of our skin color.
Okay, all right. Step a little closer. Let's get a little bit closer here. Let's get closer to the light. All right, so hold on. So I'm not discrediting your experience, but I have to dig a little bit. So you say that, you know, your experience is that guys have tended to favor you more over your friend and your sister, or girls you feel were darker. But I want to know, are you sure that was just the complexion and not the attitude, the personality, the energy they were getting off of these females?
Well, the comments that me and my sister, well, I call them my sisters, when we'll just walk, they used to say, well, who's the light-skinned one? And then they used to...
The guys would say that?
It was really immature men. It was a lot of mature men too, a lot of hood men. So it was just diverse, but it mostly was the men that grew up in the hood. that would say, yo, who's the light skin, or who's that cockroach when it came to my dark skin one. And of course, there's still proper men out there. There's a few proper black men that would love each and every single one of us because of our anointment and our spirit, but there's a lot that would just focus on physicality, and that's just the type of people that I kind of just look past in life.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I had to be sure because there was a crowd of women over there, and I chose to ask you out of those women. So I'm not, and you were darker than most of the women, if not all of the women. So I'm trying to make sure, because sometimes women interpret things a little bit, I don't know, it's like biasly, you know what I mean? Like sometimes women might get rejected and they think it's for one thing and it's something completely different. So that's why I'm just making sure, because a lot of dark-skinned women think it's that, when a lot of times when I talk to the guys, it's actually the attitude, because a lot of the guys actually do like dark-skinned women. They like that rich chocolate. So just got to be sure. I'm not saying that it's not true what you're saying. I'm just saying it's not always that. You know what I mean? Granted, also, the darker women tend to have worse attitudes a lot of times.
You think so?
And it's not because of the way society treats them. I mean, it's not because of the way the men treat them. A lot of times it's because of the way society treats them.
I think when it comes to darker women, maybe,
I feel like I keep feeling like you're not in the frame.
Maybe their attitude is based off of just what they're so used to getting.
Right.
Growing up in a society where you look at your teachers and they got blue eyes and blonde hair, and your parents are always like, respect them, respect them. Being a dark-skinned child, you're gonna start to feel like, okay, so maybe white people are more righteous than us because they have lighter skin.
That's what I'm saying.
This is what they're programmed to believe. So I think, because I could feel my sisters, my dark-skinned sisters, they probably don't want to act that way, but it's probably how much.
Yeah, they're harboring animosity. They're harboring anger from their childhood, and now they're adults and they're interacting with adult men, but they're still holding, gripe from things that boys did. You get what I mean? You're holding grown-ass men accountable for what young boys did in high school. So we kind of got to be careful with that. And I'm not saying guys don't do the same thing. There's a lot of guys that do the same shit. There's a lot of grown men that got this shit together, they're in a good position, and they won't even give black women an opportunity because black women didn't give them any love when they were in high school, maybe even college. So it goes both ways. You get what I'm trying to say? It definitely goes both ways. But I think we have to start having this conversation more frequently. And I have to say, it's the women who don't want to have this conversation, or don't want to have it in a respectful, cordial manner. And that's what's stalling us up. That's what's holding us up. Because the guys are down to have this conversation on any given day of the week. Guys will have this conversation straight up. They're either going to be soft about it and they're going to try to pander to the women, or they're going to not give a fuck and be like, this is what it is. But either way, men on a whole are willing to have the conversation. Women either want to dominate the conversation or they don't want to have it at all.
I don't think it's necessarily the guys that want to have the conversation.
I'm not saying they want to have it. I'm saying they're willing to have it. Guys, trust me, I'm not saying they want to have it, because the way guys are dealing with it is they're just dating non-black women. And just be honest with you, that's the way they're dealing with it. They're like, all right, well, whatever, because
I think the guys that are dating non-black women, it's not that we push them away, it's their choice. Black women naturally love their fathers, so of course they're going to want a black man. Some black girls obviously don't have the love of the father within them, right, so they didn't grow up with their dad. So they go for these white men. But most of the time when I see a black man with a white girl, it screams insecurities. It screams lost.
It's not insecurities. A lot of times it's just they're easier to deal with. And the next thing is, a lot of these women, they're not willing to be dominated. They're not willing to be led. They're not willing to let the man be in control. And because of that, men are gonna go where they can play their role. So if a guy feels that, listen, as the guy, I'm the protector, I'm the provider, I'm the leader, I make the executive decisions, that's the way I wanna live my motherfucking life. A woman can sit there and say, oh no, I don't agree, 50-50, you know, the woman got say so, whatever. You can agree to that, but that guy that believes that and feels that way is not gonna date you, period. He's gonna find a woman who can deal with that. So when you're dealing with white boys, if it's like, for example, if we're talking about white men, right? The white men that feel that way, that feel, listen, I need to be in charge, I need to be the, you know, in the leadership role, right? But maybe he's not the biggest, richest, strongest guy. Those white men, they'll just go date Asian women. And it's not because Asian women are their preference. It's not because they're weak. It's not because they're insecure. It's just that those particular women, they naturally have accepted that role. So they believe in that dynamic also.
All right, you hear me? I'm a Christian, so I really don't believe in interracial dating. I don't believe that a black man and a white woman should date. I always believe that you should date within your ethnicity, within your race. If you are black, date black. Only because it's always, people seem to have forgotten just how much everything is a spiritual thing. When you are connected with somebody and y'all become married, y'all become one in the flesh. And I believe that you should be with somebody that is of your nature. Somebody.
Well, I mean, is your guy Haitian?
My dad is Haitian. My mom's Haitian.
No, your boyfriend.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying? So he obviously agrees with that. Like that's his mindset is there also.
Yes.
Okay, but that's my point. But that's why you're compatible. You have your belief, and I have no problem with that. I agree with it for you. But I don't want you to misinterpret when you see guys with non-black women. I don't want you to interpret it as they're insecure or they're weak or whatever like that. It might simply be that they also have an understanding of their expectations in a relationship and their role in the dynamic, and the black women that they meet aren't willing to comply to that. They're like, no, they're not trying to fit into that mold. So if that's the dynamic that the guy wants, he has no choice but to get it where he can get it. And if a non-black woman is willing to play that role, then what he's doing is he's not discriminating against her because she's not black. He's saying, you know what? She's gonna play a role. She's gonna make a fucking sandwich. She's gonna let me lead, right? She's gonna behave herself the way that I want a woman to behave. She's gonna defer to me. She's gonna be cooperative. She's gonna be submissive. I'm good with this. And then the black women are gonna say, oh, you just want a white bitch that do whatever you tell her to do. And it's like, you could call it whatever you want. The point is, it's working for these two people. You're making the assumption that this white woman is weak, right? And you're making the assumption that this guy is doing it out of some type of insecurity or whatever. He might have tried black girl after black girl after black girl. And they wanted to fight, they wanted to argue, they wanted to make things difficult. And he said, you know what? I just want my peace. And then he started trying other women, and he realized, wow, they're a lot more passive, they're a lot more gentle, they're a lot more ladylike, they're more feminine. I prefer this energy and this dynamic, and they're gonna go, right? Because I'm gonna tell you right now.
You mentioned more feminine. You believe that white women are more feminine?
Right, so I was gonna get into that. Now,
right.
So you have to understand that you yourself, I don't know how you perceive you, right? But I'm gonna tell you how I perceive you and most men do. You are a lot more feminine than most women your complexion. I'm sorry that's just what it is. Women wanna like fight and argue that, but they don't understand. You can't decide how other people view you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can make your choices, and people are gonna perceive you based on that. So for them to get upset and be like, I'm not masculine, it's like, yeah, but if that's the energy that people are getting from you, then you're obviously putting something out that gets. For women to act like that doesn't exist, that's ridiculous. When men across the board agree that generally speaking, because women struggle with this, generally, we're not saying all, we're not saying every of anything, but majority of Western black women come off as being aggressive, argumentative, combative, masculine, and angry.
But
right, this is how they come off. Okay,
all right.
I don't know what to say. This is what people see, and this is not just
your mother that way.
A lot of guys do see their mother that way.
I'm asking you.
But my mother isn't like that though. My mother's not dark skinned either, so you can't.
So do you believe that confined.
Dark-skinned women in my family, yes. Yes, I'm Jamaican. There are a lot of women in my family, especially my father's side, that fit into that.
Can I say something? I do believe that some are called, very few are chosen. There's a lot of people that are black women that look through the fleshly eye, that walk around carnal-minded, angry, argumentative, sinful. They do witchcraft, they do voodoo, but I also believe that that goes for every race. Asian community, there's always women like that.
No, I agree.
But I do think in the black community, they are obviously, witchcraft is more common in the black community only because of just the wickedness of these hearts. But then again, in every community, I believe that there is wholesome, good people.
No, of course.
Like in every community, but white people.
Majority-wise, though, right? So if I had to say, right, for example, that's why I brought up Asians, because in their culture, the women are generally feminine, majority of them, meaning it's going to take you a lot longer to find an Asian female that is not feminine, that is not cooperative, that is not submissive. There's less of them. I'm sure they have some rough, strong, independent, argumentative types too, but very few, very fucking few, right? Now, when you're talking about white women, they have very masculine white women as well. They have very angry white women. They have it, but it's not as much as it is in the black community. So we could talk about the conditions. We can talk about the lack of fatherhood. We could talk about the why all day long, but it's not going to change the what. The what is still a reality. And what I'm trying to say is, the people who should want to have this conversation the most are black women, because they're the ones that are going to suffer. Because the men that have the options, because we already understand how dating options work for men. The more successful you are, the more options. You keep stepping out of frame, so you're just, there you go.
I think it's my butt getting out of frame.
I don't need your butt, I just need you in frame. And I think it's kind of high, so I don't think your butt, but there you go. Right here, you have space, okay. So what I'm saying is that they can have the attitude of, I'm not listening, I don't want to agree with that, I don't believe it. They can dismiss it all they want. This is what men are saying. In the cigar lounges, in the locker rooms, in the gym, on the internet, this is what men are saying to each other, and this is what they're thinking. And the way the men with the options are dealing with it is either they only want to deal with dark-skinned women, in which case they go to DR or Haiti or wherever else there's dark-skinned women that want to act like ladies, right? They want to act feminine and cooperate, or they're dealing with Latin women, dealing with white women, dealing with whatever. That's what's happening with the guys that have the options, meaning they have money, they're tall, they're good looking, whatever. They have their pick of women, right? What I'm trying to say is they're not going to pick the woman with the attitude, period, regardless of what her color is. What happens is majority of the dark-skinned women have the attitude, so they're disqualified immediately. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So the person that needs to make the fucking change is those women, or they're just gonna get left behind, and they're gonna be limited to a small pool of options, which is basically what's happening when we call them the Pookies and the Ray Rays or whatever.
Can I just speak off of experience? So, growing up in Canada is different because it's a lot of Caucasians.
Right.
So I could speak off of experience in terms of how I perceive black women and white women, Asian, and I'm gonna make it really short. Growing up around just so much Caucasian women in school, I always got the energy from them as if I had to respect them and I was less than them. It don't matter how good I was, if I was an athlete and I was the only one that won the champions, every single champion in graduation time, they gave the little white girl with the blue eyes the trophy, the big trophy. I promise they gave it to her because she's white and, well, you're black. They basically told me it don't matter if you made every sport team, if you ran the fastest in track and you had the most medals out of anybody in history in school. It don't matter. She's white. She's blue eyes. So you have to respect her. They gave her the trophy. Middle school, they bullied me. Fast forward, I'm just saying, I was there for 14 years. I never got respect from any of these white people. It was never any type of relationship where I felt respected. Now, black people, there's a lot of black women that I've met in my life that were very whole, only because I believe that God placed me in their lives, and these are God-sent people. I'm a child of God, so of course God's not going to put me next to wicked people. But I've lived in Haiti also, and I've been surrounded by wickedness, and they hated me because I was so nice. They're like, oh, I don't like this black girl because she keeps feeding the animals, and nobody in Haiti nobody in the household liked to feed the animals except for me, my mom, and my sister. They just hated me. I dealt with an evil cousin who would do voodoo on me. So I do believe there's very wicked black people, but I also believe that there's also races that just God don't even walk with. And people don't even believe that there's forgotten tribes. I believe in that.
I know that, but we can't talk about that because
I don't know. I'm really
off
truthful.
Camera, we'll get into that, but I agree with you 100%, sister. There's a reason why there's a term, God's people. There's a.
And I also
there's
believe
definitely
that
a segregation.
Jesus is a black man. Jesus
no, well,
was an Israelite.
obviously that's a fact. But what I was going to ask you is, when you had these experiences, and we're all the way over there again. When you had these experiences, I mean, how did it make you feel? I'm assuming it made you feel you were angry.
I had this anger inside of me, but it wasn't like I want to beat her up type of anger. Mm-hmm. I had this anger where I want to fight spiritually type of anger. It pushed me to pray. What really pushed me away from Canada after being there 14 years was the fact that after I met my God-sent husband, I waited 19 years for, gave him my virginity at the age of 19. There's this white girl sitting in my couch afterward. I hear them having sex, and then she attacks me, physically hurts me. I've never been in a fist fight. I never fight, ever. That was the first time. That's what pushed me to really set my mind to what God was telling me.
Oh wait, that wasn't a dream?
That was real life.
Oh, I thought it was a dream. Sorry.
I watched the movie Get Out. I know how they work. I just my spirit don't sit right being next to these people.
Right, but
I had to leave. I had to get out.
What I was getting at is, what's the difference, besides your spirituality and your faith, what's the difference in your anger, your frustration, and it not manifesting into these masculine traits or this overall attitude with men? Do you see where I'm going with this? Because you're describing anger, you're describing these emotions, but you're not exhibiting the characteristics that turns men off from dark-skinned women.
Well, the anger that I felt when I was persecuted in Canada it wasn't just white women. I mentioned what the white people did. I'm not with them. Black women also, Asian people persecuted me. A lot of races persecuted me. The anger that I received within me compelled me to be very spiritual minded and pray harder against them. What these black people or different races, what the anger that they have compels them to do wickedness in terms of not being righteous. They are going against innocent people. They get angry because there's a black girl that's so pretty and she's beautiful, so let's do voodoo on her mind. They get angry, so they want to fight me. This is what I've been experiencing.
Oh no, trust me, I've seen it. That's the type of shit my mom dealt with. So that's what I'm trying to say. But that type of shit, that's what's turning the guys off. You see what I'm trying to say?
What I just explained.
Like that type of attitude. The women that express it that way. That's what we want to get the fuck away from.
And I understand because I get away from it too.
That's why you got a lot of dudes is like, yo, I'm out of here. I'm moving out the hood. I'm moving out of black neighborhoods. I don't want nothing to do with these niggas.
And I just want to make it clear, when I get angry, it's not an anger where I want to go into the basement and do voodoo on somebody like what my family used to do. Well, these family, I don't communicate with them. None of my people communicate with them no more, but they used to go in my basement and do voodoo on me because, well, she had the longest hair. Real life. I know that shit's real.
I know it's real. We got people that do we got people that do this shit in Jamaica. Yeah.
But when they make me angry, they put me in jail. They beat me up. The white cops trampled me, disrespected me for no reason. When that white girl beat me up, what I said is I prayed. I read the Bible and I said, Lord God, send fire upon my enemies. God is righteous. He knows who the bad people are. He deals with it. I don't go to them and I don't fight them. I don't speak. I don't do none of that. I leave it in God's hands.
Try that when I go home. It's funny. No, it's funny. I was just saying that to my boy because I was getting frustrated with a particular person. He's been stressing me out for over a year now.
Yeah.
And I told my boss, like, yo, man, I'm going home. I'm gonna go pray. And he's like, what? I was like, no, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm gonna go home. I'm just gonna pray about it.
You gotta pray to God. Don't go to that person physically. It's a spiritual battle.
Yeah, I tried that already. It didn't work. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna stick to the prayer. And it just seems awkward when you're like praying to God about a specific person. Like, yeah. But anyway, you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta hold your faith. For all of you guys that are trying to like strengthen your faith and, you know, trust in the word, you gotta tune everybody else out, because people try to act like you're crazy when you know what I mean, you believe in what you believe in and you believe in the word. And nowadays it's harder than ever because we are so far away from where we're supposed to be. Like, we are so far from the righteousness. It's like, it sounds crazy now to everyone else.
Far, but so close. God is like right in front of most of these people, but
no, of course.
They just don't realize
the shit that we deal with is people act like, oh, well, I don't believe in this and this because I'm dealing with all these different things. And it's like, you do realize that we're suffering because we're not keeping the word.
That's
like
true.
Like it tells us that, like, yo, you aren't listening to this, and this. We spelt it out for you, and you're choosing to do all these other things contrary to what you've been told, and this is the consequence. The consequence is you're gonna be in bondage. You're gonna suffer, and you're gonna be at the bottom of the totem pole. So when we talk about who's God's people and which tribes we're talking about, to people they're like, well, that doesn't make sense because y'all got it the worst. It's like, dumbass, we have it the worst because we're the people that's supposed to be keeping the covet the most. Like, the covet is with us. Like, we the ones that made that agreement. So us breaking it, we get punished and penalized worse than everyone else. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I remember when I was younger, when we were kids, we used to have that mentality like, oh, but the white kids are doing this, the white kids are getting away with that, and it's like, it had to be explained. Right, it had to be explained to us, like, yo, the rules don't apply the same to us. And it's not because of racism, it's because we're cut from a different cloth. We're different people. We're different people. You see what I'm trying to say? So, and anyhow, that's a whole nother thing. That's some whole other deep shit. But I appreciate that you got your faith and you sticking with it. We're gonna get up out of here. But thanks for your time. Give us your name again, and just so we know.
My name is Sophanie Jean-Francois.
Wow.
Jean. Okay, I'm gonna say it the Haitian way, the Creole way. Sophanie Jean-Francois.
We need more of you, man. We need somebody to put it in a cloning machine and just, right? That's what we need.
There's a lot of me's out there. I believe that there's a lot of Sophonies walking around.
There's a lot of classy sisters out there.
I got them all in Canada.
Right.
Some in America.
Well, they got all the balance. They got everything. They got the beauty. They got the brains. They got the faith. They got everything.
Yeah, very much.
But we agree. So we agree on that.
We agree.
Okay, because you acting like I'm crazy.
No.
Look at where we at. You act like I'm crazy.
I'm not acting like it.
Okay. Good sisters are hard to find, is my point.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
I think in the start of the interview, I was, still trying to get in the mindset of focusing. So sometimes maybe the answers weren't what I really would say, but I think towards the end, people really got the idea that I was trying to portray.
No, I think we got it. So, I gotta try to have the most genuine, valuable conversations possible. We're out here and it's mostly just heathenism and thottery. You know what I mean? But I'm still trying to make sure that we get something valuable and we get a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully people learn from this. I don't want people to bash me because of my opinion, because I only learn from the Father. I live to do His will. So things that I do say, the Spirit compels me to say it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's everybody's personal choice, right? Yeah. You want to have a relationship with the Most High? Can't nothing stop you. If you don't, hey, you made your choice. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. That's not me. I'm not the dude. I'm not gonna be like handing out pamphlets or something. Like, nah, not at all. But at the same time, I'm not gonna deny it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna denounce it ever. That's what I believe. It is what it is. Burn me at the stake, whatever. It's all good because I've already accepted that. If it comes to that, I'm willing, to take it like that. So hold on, one more question. Did you get inoculated?
What does that mean?
Did you get the?
Is that the Vaccine?
Yeah, you ain't supposed to be saying it, but you know what I'm saying? Did you get the jabba?
I didn't get the vaccine.
Huh?
I don't.
Thing that they give you when they... Did you get the shot?
I didn't get the shot.
Okay. Are you getting the shot?
I'm not.
Okay. It's like the female version of me. It's not gonna happen.
I can't. I don't.
Yeah.
I believe that the coronavirus is real, but I don't believe it affects me.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me, and even if it did, like I said, I'm willing to die for what I believe in. So I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Teach his own. All right, we're up out of here. Keep it authentic as always. She was out of the frame most of the things she was hiding, but I know you guys can hear her. These mics are pretty good. All right.